Good morning, grunts. For some of you, might be afternoon already. Um, been kind of noticing here the getting spring fever. Uncle Brian's getting spring fever. Been in the gym, got my boat ready to go out. I got the motorcycle ready to ride. I've been on the motorcycle a few times already. The weather's been gorgeous for that here in Nebraska. It was pushing 80 degrees yesterday. It's going to be about supposedly mid 80s today. I'm gonna have to go to work this afternoon, so I won't be able to enjoy that stuff today. But maybe when I get done with work, I might be able to do that later on. Just got to put a coat of wax and polish on the hog, and I'll be ready for, well, it's pretty much ready. Well, I guess I do need to give it an oil change. I'll give it an oil change before I go a long distance with it. But yeah, I've been tooling around town, outside town with it. Been a lot of fun. So I'm ready for spring, summer weather to be here. I'm ready to go fishing. Ready to do some traveling, ready to get after the things I enjoy doing, the hobbies I enjoy doing, get back out the gun range. Was just out in the garage the other day, kind of doing a reassessment of what all ammo I need to be reloading up. I got a little bit out there to work on, so I need to get to buying the supplies and what have you. Um, one of the things I've been noticing at the gym, me and the Jeff been going to the gym together, a couple times a week. Usually when she gets off work, we'll head over to, I'm a member of two gyms here in town. So when she's not available or when I have to go to work, I'll get a morning workout in. And then if I am free or whatever and she gets off work, then her and I will go together. Um, I've been noticing, and we both kind of noticed it here, I don't know, a little while ago, and I just seen it again uh yesterday evening during our gym session yesterday. Starting to see women are training men in the gym. They're These guys are paying women to give them uh, training lessons, how to lift, how to work out, how to get strong. And I, I totally don't agree with that. And for a few reasons, number one being men and women we're like this when it comes to physical strength and capabilities. Yeah, the gal that's trained this guy that I've been seeing here every time I go to this particular gym is she's a very attractive black woman. I mean, she works out. She probably spends hours, 7 days a week at the gym working out, and then she also trains clients. But out of all the clients she trains, I've so far seen her train one male client. And of course, this guy is borderline morbidly obese. And And I always find myself wondering, why in the fuck would you hire a woman to train you? I mean, if a guy asked me, hey, can you help me out at the gym? I'd be more than happy to do it. I'm happy to help another man get into a workout regimen. I don't have a set regimen. I go and I cover about everything because due to, I don't have time to go to the gym 6, 7 days a week. 5 days max is what I can get in between work and other commitments I have. 5 days max is about what I can get in. But if any guy walked up and say, hey, do you think you can help me out over on the bench, or do you think you can help me with this exercise, or help me, yeah, critique what I'm doing. I mean, I just had an older gentleman here the other day, um, critique me on my bench press. I apparently wasn't going all the way down, touching the chest of the bar. Well, I got such long arms, and so if I'm putting that bra on my chest, that means my elbows are way down here. So it is harder for me to touch my chest. And he critiqued me about it, which is fine. I'm always open to critique. I'm always open for someone to help me get better. This guy approached me. He says, "Oh, I don't know how well you take criticism." He says, "A lot of guys don't take it too well." And I says, "Well, lucky for you, I'm open to any kind of criticism. If it helps me get better, if it helps me work on my technique or improve my technique, because guys, I'm no expert and I'll never claim to be an expert. But at the same time, if a guy sees me doing something wrong or sees me doing something that, hey, if you do this, I mean, what I was doing wasn't wrong. So he was just offering me, hey, if you take that bar down to your chest, you'll get more of a pump on that chest, which he's probably right. And this guy, obviously, he's older than me. He's probably 60 plus years old and slightly jacked. So yeah, I'm gonna take advice from a man like that because he obviously goes to the gym. He's doing the work and he's passing on to me with what works for him. He's passing that on to me in hopes it'll work for me. So I never could never, and I'll never wrap my head around why women are hiring female personal trainers because they'll never get that kind of interaction. I mean, this guy just approached me out of the blue at the gym and says, "Hey, I noticed you're not bringing that bar all the way down your chest. If you bring it down to your chest, you'll work that chest a little more." And he's right. So when I started doing that, I'm like, well, think to myself, I got such long orangutan arms that, it's not like if I had short arms, it'd be easier. But yeah, I got long arms and I come down here and I feel it. I feel it. If I touch my chest, I feel it. So I'm going to be a little more careful and be a little more cognizant of that. But I appreciate him for critiquing me because it will help me out in the end. So I appreciate that. But you won't get that kind of feedback from a woman. There's no woman in the gym that's gonna walk up to me and say, "Hey, I noticed you've been bench pressing and you're not touching your chest." No woman is gonna walk up to me and critique me like that, like another man would. So I appreciate him for doing that. And that's what I'm saying is if you're a man and you hire a female personal trainer, fire her right now. She's not going to give you the advice or the encouragement that another man will give you. Okay. So just I don't get it. I will never wrap my head around it. I mean, I know there's women out there that are fucking jacked. They're taking testosterone, they're taking roids or whatever. That's fine. Whatever they want to do, but they have no business physically training men. I will never get that. And then kind of another thing that me and GF have noticed, we was at Walmart here the other day also. Walmart and Menards. And I watch other content creators talk about this, how guys are going overseas to find love, to find women, to find a wife, or find a side piece. But I don't know. Me and the GF were at Walmart the other day, and we're grabbing a few things for dinner. And she points out, "Hey, it's that young black girl and that old guy are holding hands." And of course, I didn't see it right away. I seen them, but they weren't holding hands. But she said they were holding hands. I thought, well, whatever, more power to them. But there was three people in that party. There was that younger black woman, an older gentleman, and an older woman. And so before I can make any kind of assessment of the situation, I told her, I said, well, if we bump into him again, I'll pay closer attention without hopefully being noticed. Well, sure as shit, we come around the next aisle and there they are. This older gentleman is holding hands with this very young black woman. And what I can only assume, I can't confirm or deny, but what I can only assume is an older woman about his same age pushing a grocery cart. So I'm assuming he's married to this older woman, and then he's got this young black gal as like a side piece, or hell, she might even be a maid, a housemaid or something. I don't know. But yeah, sure shit, this older gentleman and this very young black woman were holding hands at Walmart while I'm assuming his wife is pushing a grocery cart. They're grocery shopping. The three of them are grocery shopping. I guess nowadays they call that situation a throuple. It used to be like a threesome or a three-way or wobbly H or whatever you may have. But so my assessment of that situation in a nutshell is, well, they're probably, I mean, and they're an elderly couple. They're in their 60s, mid 60s. She can't have sex anymore. She's in menopause, and you know what happens when women go through menopause? Their hormone levels go down, and they just don't have the sex drive anymore. And a lot of guys can still have sex, can still get up well into their elderly years. And this old guy's like, you know what? I'm not ready to give up sex. And so she's tired of him trying to get it from his wife, and she's okayed him to go ahead. Well, why don't you just go ahead and get you a young thing, and you can have fun with her as long as he's making the money or his retirement fund is making the money. He's supporting both those women. He's able to pay the bills, buy the groceries, keep a roof over the head. Everybody's happy. Everybody's fucking happy. And then, so then we had to go to Menards because the GF needed this vanilla extract for uh, a dessert she was making. And then as we're walking out of Menards, we observe again, an older man with a much younger Asian woman. And you guys are thinking, well, what's the moral of the story, Uncle Brian? Well, there really isn't a moral of the story. But what you could take from it is men are literally, they're going outside the borders of the United States and finding wives or whatever they're finding overseas and bringing them back here. And that's what's happening. And I know guys that work that have done the same thing. I guess they call that mail order bride service. You get to pick a woman from Russia or Ukraine or China or whatever. You could bring them in, and then it's like a contractual marriage. They have to obligate so many years. But a lot of guys are entering into that kind of realm because, modern Western women are becoming more and more unpleasant. They're more and more disagreeable, argumentative. And not to mention, they're getting fatter and fatter every year. And so, guys are resorting to any means possible to get a piece, I guess. So, yeah, these are things that if you don't have your radar turned up, these are things that are happening under your face, under your nose every single day. It's how society is changing, how society is adapting. Well, if this doesn't work for me, I'll go elsewhere to get it. Like you've heard the passport bros, where guys get their passports and they're actually going overseas and having fun in other places besides the United States. So yeah, just things I observe. Um, the GF actually catches on to this stuff just as quick as I do. So it's kind of funny we can talk about those things and kind of get a chuckle out of it. But yeah, but it is a reality we face today. And but the topic of today's show, I found this post on social media, and it's actually titled "Before You Get Married." And I read the list and kind of gathered some different thoughts in my head that I'll share with you guys. But when I read this list, it's actually you don't even have to have this discussion to get married. Really, I mean, on a more serious note, guys, marriage is off the table for most people. That's men and women. Um, we won't get into why we won't get married. I've done that God knows how many times, and I'll probably address it other times, but I'm not going to do it today. But these are actually discussions you should have prior to or while starting in a new relationship as things come up. Because if you do decide to get married, you should have these issues discussed beforehand. And like I said, I'm guilty of it. I was married for 19 years, and when I looked at this list, I thought, shit, I I don't think I ever discussed any of this. I don't think before me and the ex-wife got married, we never talked about any of this stuff. None of it. And so I'm going to bang off the topics here, and we're going to kind of brief discussion on each one. Try to keep it short, sweet, to the point. But the first one is discuss bills. Nowadays, your bills are your bills, her bills are her bills. This kind of goes in with I kind of combine it. There's another uh, bullet point here that talks about, let me see, is it? I think yeah, this can kind of go along with the financial expectations, but we'll hit that. But keep bills separate, okay? It's her bills. If she's bringing in debt in the relationship, that's her debt, not yours. If you have debt that's coming in the relationship, that's your debt. You pay your debt, she pays her debt, and that's all. This next one here is a big, big one. It goes next to the financial stuff, the financial expectations, and this is the parenting styles. And I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, had I had this discussion with my ex-wife before we got married, her and I came from two completely opposite worlds when it comes to parenting. Complete opposite. I used to get my ass beat for screwing up as a kid. I got spankings when that's part of being disciplined when I was a kid. If me and my brother screwed up, we got spanked. We got to spank it for it. I mean, yeah, we get scolded, but if we kept the bad behavior going, then we got spanked for it. Now, my ex-wife, on the other hand, never got spanked. At least to my knowledge, never got spanked. She got scolded, but never had any physical discipline. And so when her and I got married, I had experience with physical discipline where she never did. And so I'm not gonna lie, I used to spank my boys. I mean, barehanded, on their tushes, I spank them on the butt, and that was it. But she never had any kind of physical discipline as a kid, and I did. So we had two completely, and a lot of that stuff clashed, and it still clashes to this day. Had I had this discussion, we'd probably never gotten married. Next one is credit. Like same thing. Credit is kind of goes on with the bills and finances. You ideally, in an ideal world, and we don't live in an ideal world, your credit score should almost be in alignment with each other. If let's say you got a 720 and she's got something like a 680, that's fine. Um, if you have a credit score of 835 and she's got a credit score of 550, and that's not going to work. You probably won't be co-signing loans together. Let's just say that's not going to happen. Okay. Another one, the next one is debt. Again, what debt she brings in is hers. What debt you bring in is yours. Same thing. It goes on with the bills. It goes along with the bills and finance. Okay. We won't beat this a dead horse. Next one is religion. Uh, I was married to a Catholic. I very rarely ever went to church. Never went to church as a kid. So her and I were completely, again, this far apart when it comes to religion. Had we had this discussion, different outcome. How to deal with family. Oh, yeah, that's kind of a tricky one. Again, her family problems are not your problem. And same thing, your family problems should not be her problem. If you each have family problems, you handle that on your own side of the fence. Like I said, her family problems or even your family problems are not your problem either. So keep that shit separate. Don't intertwine it. Don't, and if it gets to be out of hand, then you cut bait and leave. You don't fuck with that. Next one is what beliefs will be instilled in your children. Again, this is a value system, moral structure you instill in your children. As long as you and your girlfriend, wife, whatever, are on the same page with values and morals, that's what you instill in your children. Childhood traumas. Again, open that up. I'm currently dating a girl that's had a lot of childhood traumas. For one, I have very little. I grew up with an alcoholic father. That was the worst I ever got. I was probably verbally abused as a kid quite a bit. I was never physically abused. I was never anything like that. Her, on the other hand, has got a lot more there. Okay. It shouldn't, it, it all depends on how each person handles their childhood traumas. Some people carry it into their adulthood. I never carried mine into my adulthood. She hasn't carried hers into adulthood, so we're good there. Now, she's got siblings that have carried that stuff in adulthood, and it's not good for them. But again, it's not my problem. I don't engage in it. I don't give a fuck as long as it does not bleed into her and I's relationship. I don't care. Sexual expectations. Again, how often do you want to have sex? How do you like sex? Positions, oral, whatever, what name it, any kind of flavor you got. That should be, again, that was something I never discussed with my ex-wife when we got married. Um, I had a much higher sex drive than she did. I wanted sex more than she did. And toward the end of our marriage, she had accused me of only wanting sex. Okay. So find a woman that is sexually aligned with you. If she's got a high sex drive and she likes sex in many different ways, different places, awesome, you got it made. But if you find a woman that's totally opposite of you, um, you're gonna have a problem there. You're gonna end up, what'll happen is if she doesn't meet your sexual expectations, you're gonna end up cheating on her anyway. And that's what I did with my ex-wife. About the last 4 or 5 years of our marriage, I was straying from the marriage because I wasn't getting the sexual satisfaction I was expecting. And so I strayed from the marriage, and that's not good, guys. So vet your partner for the same sexual expectations you have. You got if you got a goal, I want to do it at least 3, 4 times a week, and I don't want to have to be just in the bedroom sex. I want to be able to go outside. I want to be able to do someplace, where, it excites you a little bit. So have that discussion. Partner expectations. This here should have been number one because partner expectations actually covers the bills, the styles, and everything on that list. So I'm not going to really touch that. Um, I guess for me, it's when I look for a woman, I look for a woman that she's feminine, she's fit, friendly, faithful, and can have fun. Okay. That's my partner expectation. That's what I look for in a woman. If she doesn't fit any of those bills, she's not compatible with me. Plain and simple. Financial expectations, guys. Same thing. I I do not recommend, even if you guys decide to get married. Like I said, I'm not against marriage, but if you decide to get married, do not, and I will say again, do not enter joint banking. Do not have joint loans unless you're buying a home. I do allow a, a girlfriend or wife to co-sign on a home loan because home ownership is still one of your biggest investments you'll ever have. And those investments are still going strong. So that way, if you break it off or get divorced, now in divorce, it's going to be a lot different because when you get divorced, she's more likely keeping the home that you both bought and that you paid for. Okay. She's wanting to keep that. But when you're in a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, and LTR, you guys have some kind of written agreement, either legally that says, if we break up, we have to sell the home and we split the proceeds 50-50. Okay. That's the only thing I mean, a lot of other creators say, hell no, you do not have joint loans of any kind. But I do accept joint home loans. I do accept joint mortgages, but I will not co-sign for a car loan for the girlfriend. I will not co-sign for a credit card for a girlfriend. I will not put a girlfriend on my bank accounts. I will not put her on my investment accounts. I will not, no, will not do that. Do not joint bank with your girlfriend or wife. Plain and simple, guys. I said it before. I've just said it again. You do not enter into joint banking because what happens with that is if you break up or even in a divorce, you have to untangle from all that. You have to close bank accounts, reopen accounts on your names. You have to close credit card accounts and reopen accounts on your name. And if you have auto loans under both names, and you split that debt, even though she keeps the car. So, I mean, don't do it, guys. Don't do it. Family health history. Yeah, we all have family health history. I guess if you want to talk about that, I guess the only things that I'm concerned about with is like mental health. I mean, yeah, if you had a grandfather that died of cancer or died of a heart attack or died of emphysema, hell, most of us have that in our family history. But the things I'm concerned about the most is mental health. Does she have bipolar? Does she have severe anxiety? Is she a psychopath? Does she have You look in her medicine cabinet, guys, and you see what kind of pills she's swallowing every day. If she's taking a lot of psycho meds, you leave. You don't call her back. You don't take her out another day. You just fucking leave. That goes on with mental health. I just touched that as well. Bucket list. What do you guys want to do? You want to fly somewhere to Europe and hike the Alps together, or do you want to take a fancy vacation? You want to go up and see the fall colors of Maine, or do bucket list stuff? Have something that you both want to enjoy together. Dream home. Yeah, if you're gonna make that commitment, make sure you guys agree on the kind of home you want to buy. Yeah, I want to have a 3-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms and a 3-car garage. Got to put stuff in the garage. Got this. least have a general idea of the kind of home you want to own or buy or live in. A home that, hey, we've raised kids. Is it a home that you can live in during the duration of that mortgage and pay it off eventually? Is it going to be a home that will satisfy your needs as you get older? Like if you've got a two-story home, would that be a good home to have when you turn 70, 75 and you're takes you longer to get up those stairs to get to the bedroom? So have that kind of discussion too. Careers and education. Um, wow, that could be a lengthy one. Um, I don't know which way to go with that. Um, Both men and women are working nowadays to maintain a household, to maintain a higher standard of living. Um, I guess a true example, when I was married, I was a breadwinner in my household. The ex-wife is a school teacher, but our income difference was like this. She made a lot less than I did. And now the current girlfriend I'm dating, we're pretty much even. Okay. Won't discuss what she does. I won't discuss what I do. We're both educated people. Um, we're She's got a master's degree. I have a bachelor's. So I mean, she's got me there, but we're we're pretty much on the even playing field. I guess the best advice I give you guys is find a woman and I know, understand that's hard. Uh, Women typically do work lower paying jobs. They work low risk jobs. Um, you're more likely going to find a woman that's beneath you social economically. There are women out there that are, like I said, me and the current GF, we're pretty equal in both those areas. But more likely, the few women I met and dated post marriage have been below me social economically. So you have a higher chance of meeting somebody like that than you do meeting somebody that's at or near your level. Okay. I think that's important discussion, especially when you talk about financial expectations. Like I said, you're paying everything separate. Okay. She pays her debt, you pay your debt, you pay 50/50 on the rent or the mortgage. And she might pick up uh the Hulu bill, you might pick up the electric bill, she might pick up the utility bill and what have you, but you're doing everything 50/50 down the middle. So it's probably ideal to find a woman that can live up to the lifestyle that you're living, and then she can pay um, half of that. Okay. Last one is political views and whatever else comes to mind. I Nowadays we're divided right down the middle between Democrat and Republican. So you got liberals on the left, conservatives on the right, and so it. I'm telling you guys, I've seen on online dating profiles where women are like, no, I will, no conservatives allowed, no Trump supporters allowed, no far right wing people allowed. Um, I vote Republican. I'm not a far right guy. I support uh, social progress. I support the advancement of society if it means electric cars or whatever. I think those are cool. I think it's cool that we're looking that way. Are we still ahead of our time? Yes, we are, but I think it's a step in the right direction. But I think the way the left wants to push those kind of devices like electric cars is really, we're a little ahead of our time. Do I support electric vehicles? I do. Would I own one now? Not right now. I don't think we're there where it makes sense to own one for me. We got ways to go yet. But do I support it? Yes, I do. Um, so find a woman again that aligns, like I said, political views hasn't really been an issue up until about the last 5 to 8 years, where women are really like, well, most women are gonna be because they like to vote for free shit, so they're gonna vote more Democrat, more left. Whereas men tend to, and like I said, not necessarily, men did show up and especially young men did show up and vote Republican this election. That's how Trump won. So we're seeing more people veering to the right, and that's okay. And so, but a lot of people men and women included, are sensitive with their politics. So that probably is something to discuss. It's not a big issue to me. What I have seen on female dating pages that some women are anti-Republican, they are anti-conservative, and they're not afraid to express it. So keep that in mind, guys. But yeah, those are the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 discussion points to talk about before you get married. And I might see if I can put these in the video toward the end where you could maybe look at them. You can pause your video. You can pause the video and see what those are, and then have those discussions with a potential woman. I think they're good topics. Some of them kind of, there's some of these I can condense into one topic, like the bills, credit, debt. I could put that all in financial expectations and not have to break them down separately. But if you have to break down separately, by all means do so. But anyways, guys, that's all I got today. So have a great rest of your day, and toodles.